In the heat of a summer's day in 1965, steel rollers pressed together in a rhythmic pulse, shaping countless blanks destined to carry the familiar profile of a founding father. The mint's atmosphere was thick with metal dust, the clang of machinery echoing across vast halls. Technicians monitored the process with mechanical precision, knowing that change was underway, yet unaware of the anomaly that would soon emerge. That year marked a turning point in American coinage. Rising silver prices had forced the Treasury to strip dimes and quarters of their lustrous content, replacing the once 90% silver discs with layers of copper and nickel. Mint marks were suspended to discourage hoarding, and coins emerged bearing only the nation's motto and dates. The Washington quarter, untouched in design since 1932, now carried new substance but the same proud visage. Among those quietly observing the minting lines was a young engraver named Harris. He'd spent months drafting new dies in anticipation of the composition shift. On an unremarkable Tuesday, he noticed a fresh die arriving from a distant foundry, one stamped with a small D, as if intended for Denver production. He tucked the die away without thought, unaware that it shouldn't be used at all. Weeks later, in Denver's minting facility, press operators loaded what they believed were approved blanks. Among the thousands that slid between hefty dies, one bore an extra mark. Not a crack or blemish, but a tiny D pressed just under the date, on a coin that, by decree, should have displayed no mint mark at all. In a whirlwind of mass production, it slipped past quality control. Decades passed before anyone noticed. The quarter entered circulation like any other, greeting shoppers, jingling in cash registers, disappearing into piggy banks. Its secret lay obscured in plain sight until a curious collector named Elaine first spotted something odd while sifting through a friend's donation of loose change. She'd been hunting errors for years, studying reference guides that listed bumped rims and misplaced dies. This piece caught her eye because it felt different. Its surface reflected light with a sharper gleam, its relief crisp as if it skipped the wear that age normally imparts. When she flipped it over, that tiny D under the date sent a thrill through her fingertips. Her pulse quickened. Could this be real? She'd read about mint mark errors from the 19th century, but modern coins seemed too standardized for such mistakes. Elaine spent hours under a magnifier, tracing the letter's outline, comparing it to known D-mint punches. It matched exactly. Her hands trembled as she realized she held a genuine anomaly. Word of her discovery spread through online forums in hushed excitement. Some dismissed it as a light strike or a post-mint engraving. Others saw genuine signs of an official error. Experts debated its origin, citing the suspended mint marks program and the unlikely chance of a road die finding its way into Denver's presses. An auction house took interest, inviting Elaine to submit the quarter for certification. The grading service subjected it to stringent tests, X-ray fluorescence to confirm its copper-nickel layering, high-resolution microscopy to map the die's indentations. Each test corroborated her initial feeling. It was authentic, a one-of-a-kind marvel misplaced in history and production alike. Initial estimates placed its value at just a few $1,000s, a rarity among modern mint mark errors. Collectors watched as the coin entered its first sale, hammered at a respectable sum that still stunned casual hobbyists. Two bidders drove the final price higher, turning a pocket full of spare change into a windfall of speculation. But the quarter's journey was only beginning. Over the next year, whispers of its existence grew into a murmur that rippled through numismatic circles worldwide. Private dealers offered six figures to Elaine, hoping to secure the piece before it vanished into a private vault. Its allure lay not just in its scarcity, but in the mystery. How a mint die, specifically designated for Denver, ended up striking coins that were never supposed to bear any mint mark. With each price jump, the story deepened. A signed affidavit from a retired mint supervisor surfaced, describing how, in the chaos of transitioning alloys and removing mint marks, a single die might have escaped the usual routing. The admission was tantalizing. Human oversight had left its mark, literally, on a coin that would confound experts for decades. Collectors began searching rolls of quarters for clues of other such anomalies. Some reported faint ghost letters, misaligned mint marks pressed so lightly they seemed to hover on the surface. Few could verify their claims. The 1965 D remained supreme, a single beacon of error, an emblem of chance in a world governed by precision. Its value climbed past seven figures. Financial analysts noted something curious. The coin's market trajectory resembled that of rare stamps and baseball cards, steep climbs punctuated by sudden lulls. Auctions became battlegrounds, with phone lines buzzing and internet bids leaping in real time. Each new sale reset benchmarks and expectations. Then came a startling revelation. A metallurgist studying its surface under electron microscopy uncovered microscopic striations, fine grooves that traced the dye's engraving process. They didn't match ordinary tool marks. Instead, they suggested that the demint punch was affixed to the dye after most images were carved, as if deliberately added to a dye already in use. The implication rippled through the community. Had someone at the mint intentionally created a modern rarity? Or was it a fluke? A punch dropped onto the dye and somehow pressed into service, creating a silent testament to human error? No one could decide. The mystery only inflated the coin's mystique and, unsurprisingly, its market value. Elaine, now a prominent figure in error coin circles, confessed to sleepless nights spent weighing offers and wondering about provenance. She visited the Denver Mint Museum, scrutinizing historical photographs and production logs in search of a hint. Each lead brought fresh insights and deeper questions. New candidates for rogue dyes, possible cover-ups in vault records, whispers of unreported error batches. Meanwhile, collectors worldwide scrubbed and polished every 1965 quarter they encountered, hoping for that telltale D. Some even subjected coins to chemical treatments, risking damage for the slightest chance of revelation. The coin's legend fed a frenzy, turning ordinary collectors into treasure hunters chasing a ghostly mark of fortune. Despite the fervor, the quarter's rarity remained intact. No second 1965 D surfaced. It stood alone, an enigma etched in copper-nickel clad, bridging the mint's meticulous legacy and its moment of fallibility. Its value, once measured in mere thousands, became a benchmark, the apex of modern error coinage. At a renowned auction in New York, the coin finally reappeared. Under the glare of spotlights, it lay in a glass case, its D under the date almost glowing. The room fell silent as the auctioneer described its storied past in sober tones, careful not to tip the narrative's balance. Bids started modestly, then soared. $500,000, $750,000. When the gavel fell, it cemented the quarter's stature, a sale price that eclipsed every modern coin era before it. Murmurs filled the room. Some compared it to the 1933 St. Gaudens double eagle, others to the British Edward III florin. Yet this humble quarter, born of an afternoon slip at a Denver press, claimed its own throne in the afterglow. Collectors dissected every detail. Rare book authors scrambled to update their catalogs. Online forums lit up with fresh theories about the dye's origin and the possibility of a hidden vault stash. The quarter's legacy seemed limitless, its story unfinished, as if awaiting the next chapter. Back in her home office, Elaine held the cataloged receipt from that record auction, marveling at the journey of a coin once worth mere cents. She flipped it over, inspecting the obverse with quiet reverence. Could there be other coins, lost in circulation, bearing forgotten marks of mint history? She smiled, already planning her next hunt. The 1965 D Washington quarter stands as a testament to serendipity. A simple push of steel on steel created an image so minute it escaped notice for decades. Yet that tiny letter D transformed a routine disc into a legend, weaving together change in metal content, human oversight, and the timeless allure of rare treasures. Its story lives on, carried in hushed auctions, fevered collector discussions, and the careful gaze of anyone who wonders what secrets a single coin can hold. The Washington quarter was born in 1932 to honor the first president, sculpted by John Flanagan. Made of a copper-nickel clad after 1965, it became a staple of American pockets. By 1983, production soared, the Denver Mint stamping thousands every hour. Yet hidden among the millions was an anomaly waiting decades to surface. That spring, mint workers adjusted dies stamped with a date and mint mark D. Planchets moved swiftly from blanks to the press, each coin striking a near-perfect reflection of American tradition. Occasionally, a planchet would misfeed or rotate, but most errors were caught by quality control. One batch slipped through, labeled innocuously 1983 D, its secret buried in plain sight. In the hush of a weekend coin show, a seasoned collector named Marcus leafed through tongs of quarters. He paused, his fingers brushing one with a strange outline around Washington's profile. No dramatic announcement or fanfare, just a moment of disquiet. That quarter bore a faint double image, subtle enough to dismiss, yet persistent in his mind. He took it home, the coin resting on his desk under a lamp's glow. Each curl of Washington's hair seemed to carry a whisper of duplication, a misaligned echo of metal against metal. Marcus felt a familiar tingle, the thrill of potential discovery arching his spine. His catalog lay open, but no entry matched this shape, this ghostly twin of an image. Night after night, he studied photographs under magnification, comparing scratches and wear patterns. Early experts in his circle offered no immediate answers, but each inquiry deepened his fascination. Rumors of a 1983 double die had circulated quietly, but proof remained elusive. Marcus sensed that he held something extraordinary, yet the story of its significance was still unfolding. The anticipation built as he reached out across message boards and private groups. Skeptics dismissed it as lighting or a die chip, but one mentor urged caution. Every detail mattered, from the rim's thickness to the planchet's composition. Each theory felt like a clue in an unfolding puzzle, hinting at a moment when this dime became legendary. He resisted labeling it too soon, preferring to watch the narrative grow organically. Weeks later, a fellow enthusiast, Elena, provided a compelling reference. A mint report from that era, noting experimental die adjustments intended for a new commemorative series. Somehow, these experimental dies found their way into regular production. The realization sent pulses of excitement through both their networks. Suddenly, what Marcus had stumbled on connected to a secret chapter of the mint's history. Word spread quietly at first, with whispered valuations that hovered around $50, an extraordinary sum for a single quarter error. Yet as more collectors examined their pocket change, a handful of similar specimens emerged. Each fresh example reinforced the theory that a brief window released coins struck from those experimental dies. Suspense grew as bids crept upward in early forums, the dawn of online auctions. One faded example commanded over $200, surprising even the most optimistic believers. The rarity scaled with condition, unveiling a ladder of values where surface quality and alignment flaws danced in delicate balance. Marcus tracked each sale, charting curves that suggested exponential growth. The error had quietly transcended its mundane origins. Collectors who missed the initial wave watched envy build as private sales reached into the thousands. Brochure paper-colored pages in specialty publications, each photograph a tribute to a quarter once deemed insignificant. Yet some questioned whether the humble 1983 D could sustain such fervor. The market, however, proved resilient, fueled by fresh discoveries and broadening curiosity. Clues flickered in conversation that specimens existed in near-perfect mint state, with barely perceptible doubling and fully intact rims. These pristine coins hinted at an apex of collectability. No one knew exactly how many had slipped through quality control. Rumors ranged from a few dozen to perhaps a couple hundred. Stingy numbers and rising demand created a perfect storm for the price. In 2008, at a small auction hall in Texas, a pristine 1983 D quarter error sold for a staggering $1,500. Gasps echoed through the audience as the coin passed hands rapidly, its owner beaming with disbelief. News outlets that rarely covered numismatics ran short pieces, elevating the coin's mythos. Suddenly, every collector reevaluated their loose change. Then came the twist. A metallurgical analysis revealed that several of these error coins were struck on planchets with a slightly higher silver content than usual clad quotas. The mint's records showed leftover silver from earlier coinage testing had been improperly sorted. This accidental blend lent an unexpected weight and hue to the coin, linking it unknowingly to a bygone era of silver quarters that on inspection. The quarter's edge rang with a softer tone, and its diameter measured a hair wider than standard. The doubling on the obverse exhibited a crisp separation, framing Washington's portrait in a ghostly outline. Die cracks extended from the date into the field, creating delicate webbing. These flaws, rather than marring the coin, elevated it into a grail for those seeking the perfect error. Word of the silver mix spread. Values soared further. Imperfect pieces with clear planchet anomalies sold for $500 to $800. Near mint examples, bearing both the doubling and silver trace, reached 5,000. Marcus could scarcely believe the trajectory. What began as a quarter from 1983 had become a relic with whispers of precious metal, a modern myth in a copper-nickel world. He once held a similar coin in a small glass case at a local show, the label reading simply 1983 D variety. Now, the margins of error track costs that dwarfed most half-dollars and dollars. Collectors pledged summer savings, swapping entire sets to secure one. And yet, the auction record suggested an even rarer find. A single specimen struck on a full silver planchet, estimated in near uncirculated condition. That specimen remained a specter, a rumor that lived in hushed tones among elite collectors. Some claimed to have seen it. Others insisted it was a clever hoax. The Mint's archives neither confirmed nor denied its existence, leaving a void that only fueled obsession. For Marcus, the possibility of such a discovery became both an unreachable summit and a siren's call. Through the years, he chronicled each sale in a voluminous ledger, noting provenance, date of sale, and hammer price. He mapped trends against economic cycles, witnessing how rare coins often perform like alternative investments. During recessionary years, a handful of bidders sustained prices as savings accounts yielded near-zero interest. The 1983 D era became a hug of defiance against market volatility. Social media introduced new layers: unboxing videos, reaction clips, and interviews with experts. Every fresh angle amplified the coin's legend, bringing in novices who longed to uncover something of value in their everyday change. Some turned their sweaters inside out, rattling pockets for quarter rolls at grocery stores. The community grew, stitched together by anticipation and the hope of hitting the numismatic jackpot. Occasional disappointments tempered the fervor. A collector might pay hundreds only to find a harmless die chip. Stories circulated of heartbreak. Posts titled, "My quarter is not it," followed by photos of misshapen rims or uneven toning. Yet each false alarm sharpened the circle of trust, refining criteria for identifying the true error. The hunt itself became part of the allure that, in 2021, a digital marketplace witnessed a certified near-flawless silver blend specimen break all records at $7,500. The sale included full lab reports confirming elemental composition. Observers noted that the price spike corresponded with global silver markets, but the coin story held a power beyond precious metal. It was the tale of chance, misstep, and time refusing to bury an unlikely artifact. Then, out of left field, a former Mint technician came forward with an anecdote. He claimed that years earlier, a supervisor ordered experimental dies to be stamped D, then set aside amid bureaucratic chaos. A misfiled crate had been released by night shift, its contents mixed with standard dies. That flawed shipment traveled to circulation before discovery, cementing the coin's genesis in a moment of human error. This revelation cast the coin in a new light, no longer simply a numismatic curiosity, but a testament to fallibility within the heart of one of the world's largest mints. Collectors marveled at the idea that such a monumental facility could inadvertently create a treasure. The error coin transcended its denomination. It was proof that even the most rigid systems harbor slips of magic. Renewed interest propelled values yet again. One auction in 2023 saw internet bidders pushing the price to $10,000 for a box-fresh example. A new generation tuned in, seeing the quarter as a symbol of unpredictability. Marcus, now in his 50s, reflected on how a simple misstrike had defined decades of his life, shaping friendships, rivalries, and late nights at the table. But he still recalls the quiet intensity of that initial weekend, the chance encounter that set an odyssey in motion. Some argue that once the mythical full silver planchet surfaces, the market will surge beyond imagined limits. Others warn that novelty might fade, leaving only the story itself as the true treasure. Yet no one disputes that the 1983 D-era quarter carve a unique place in America's coin heritage. Auctions now feature side-by-side comparisons with standard quarters, illustrating differences in striking pressure and planchet weight. Videos analyze molecular compositions, while AI-driven algorithms predict next price jumps. Forums hum with theories about other hidden errors from that minting window. The community thrives on speculation balanced by careful documentation, and there remains an air of uncharted potential. Might another experimental die have been used in a different month? Could a silent pair of coins, residing unnoticed in cash drawers, hold the key to a fresh record? Every collector who handles an ordinary 1983 D. Washington quarter tilts the scales of possibility. Each study, each whisper, weaves into the coin's living legend that, in the end, the quarter persists not just as an error, but as a narrative vessel, carrying stories of human oversight, ambition, and the thrill of discovery. It reminds us that small deviations can echo through time, reshaping value in ways no ledger could predict. And so, the 1983 D. Washington quarter era lives on, its edges quietly beckoning those who dare to look closer.